Welcome to Reduce Your Stress with Tim Ringgold. I'm a board-certified music therapist, author, and expert on how to use music to relieve stress fast. This podcast is sponsored by McConnell Music Therapy Services, Inc., where they believe in the power of music to transform people and communities. Based in Northern California, their board-certified music therapists support people of all ages and abilities within hospitals, schools, corporations, and communities using music experience to connect, express, and de-stress. Visit them at mcconnellmts.com or their Facebook page, McConnell Music Therapy. This episode of Reduce Your Stress with Tim Ringgold is also sponsored by Dr. Neecie, trainer and certifier of master and executive coaches, because she believes every person, every relationship, every business, and your finances should be extraordinary. Find out more about Dr. Neecie Moore and the Life Coaching Institute at www.drneecie.com. That's DRNEECIE.com. Hello and welcome to another episode of Reduce Your Stress with Tim Ringgold. It's so great to be with you, and I'm so glad you're here because today you are going to get a glimpse of life through an amazing human being. This is an interview from the Stress Elimination Summit Recovery Edition with a friend of mine named Andre Norman. And Andre, or Dre as his friends call him, is the reason to believe in second chances. His tenacity and passion for people led him to start his transformational program called 180X, which works to redevelop underserved communities, repair facilities, families in crisis, and reduce prison reentry. But this wasn't always his calling. Nearly 2 decades ago, Andre was not only serving a 100-year sentence in prison, but he was also running all the gang activity within the facility. After an epiphany in solitary confinement and a lot of hard work, he was released, GED in hand, 14 years later. Since then, Dre's mission has been to teach individuals and corporations how to turn any situation around. His solution-based recovery efforts have impacted entire regions, including Honduras, the Bahamas, Sweden, Guatemala, Liberia, and Trinidad. He's lectured on multiple TEDx stages as well as at Harvard University and the London Business School. And his innovative strategies against gang activity and inmate manipulation have improved correctional systems across the United States. When you hear his journey, it'll help you keep things in perspective. Dre gives a great testimony as to why having a clear vision that is about something bigger than you, how that can help you overcome the stress along the way. His story is just so inspirational, and his talk is chock full of little wisdom nuggets for how to navigate the world. So pay attention, be ready to be inspired, and I'll see you on the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the virtual stage my dear friend Andre Norman. Andre, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Thank you for being at the Stress Elimination Summit. And my first question to you is, what was your first concert?
My first concert was the Fresh Fest with Run DMC, Houdini, and the Fat Boys.
Oh my God, that's outstanding. Dude, Run DMC, like all of us in middle school wanted Adidas with no laces. That was the look in middle school. I remember that very clearly. And the Fat Boys, man, that was the first time I ever heard anybody beatbox. The Fat Boys. I was just like, I didn't even know that was an option. I didn't know that was an instrument. I mean, I'm a singer and I had never heard anybody do that. So memory lane.
Where I come from.
Well, all right. So my friend, today we are here at the Stress Elimination Summit Recovery Edition your talk is called From Prison Yard to Harvard Yard. And, you know, one of the things that I love about you and am constantly inspired by is the ability that you found to turn and change direction. And if we talk about recovery, recovery is it's the act of changing direction. And people, it's hard when they've got a lot of trauma, a lot of inertia to change direction. And I want you to just, you know, share your story and what it was, how you did it, and what you're doing today.
Gotcha. Well, I started out in Boston, Massachusetts. Mom married a high school sweetheart, and she had 2 kids, my older sister Janine and my favorite sister Carol. And that was, well, yes. Oh, you can, okay, hold on. Her name is Amani. Her birth name was Carol. And people think I'm joking. Can you see that? If my phone rings right now, it'll say favorite sister Imani. So this is not something I just make up. It's all good unless one of my other sisters are in the car when she calls. I'm like, you should have been nicer to me. That's all.
Should have been.
Should have been nicer. So mom, dad, two daughters. He goes to jail for robbing banks. She meets my dad. She has 4 more kids. So there's 6 of us now, mom, dad. We go through the domestic violence phases. We go through school busing or school integration in Boston. It was forcing Black kids and white kids to go to school together. Rocks thrown at me, names thrown at me. And then one day, like, dad's gone. And mom and dad broke up. He's just gone. And the worst part of everything wasn't what happened, but nobody taught me how to process it. They didn't explain anything to me. They left it to me to figure out. And the problem is at 8, 9, and 10, I don't figure out things well. So my understandings were different than probably what they should have been. And I internalized those things. I had a basic fundamental lens to see life. 1, it's okay to hit people. 2, I have to protect myself. And 3, I can quit whenever I want. Nobody helped my mom. If my mom can be hit, anybody can be hit. Nobody helped me when they threw rocks at me. And when my father quit on the family, why can't I quit? So I went on through life and I got to middle school and that's when I found out we're poor because we don't have all the cool stuff. So I stopped hustling in the park after school to make money so I can be accepted because kids and people are brutal if you don't have the right stuff. If you don't have the right stuff, they give you what we used to call the business. And I called it daily. And so I just started hustling to get money so I can buy the stuff. Now, I know with addiction, a lot of people might take painkillers because they broke their leg or they got in a car crash, or had a headache or whatever their thing is. I get on the path of criminality, not because I want to be a criminal, I wanted to be accepted and buy stuff. But it didn't matter why I got on that road. As I got on the road and it was unchecked. And I started out with that little small thing and I just kept growing. Actually, the first crime I committed was stealing from the corner store. I used to steal food from the corner store, chips, candy bars, soda, because I couldn't afford it. Then when I could sell drugs, I could go buy it. But started stealing, then it moved to like we weren't like drug dealers like in the movies. We were more runners for the big kids. We'd run back and forth to the stash and pass them bags, and that was it. Then I moved into drug dealing, then I moved into weapons, and I moved and just kept going. And I ended up in the penitentiary. The judge gave me over 100 years in time. And they're like, how did you get here? The truth is, I started out shoplifting from the corner store candy bars, and it went unchecked. And it just progressed because I got the thing I always tell people, be careful the road you get on. Because once you get on it, you're on it. Doesn't matter how fast or slow you walk, you're going to hit that end road. And I got on a negative road. And even though I was walking slow, I got to the end of that road, and it's called the penitentiary. And when I got there, I was overwhelmed. I was scared. And then the craziest thing happened. I walk into the maximum security penitentiary where I'm scared to death. And it was all my friends from the dummy class, all my friends from the principal's office, all my friends who quit football and band, all my friends who hustled in the park, all the guys I used to chase girls with downtown at the movie theater. I knew the whole building. It was like a reunion of all my friends who quit on life. So I was like, wow. So I got in with my friends and I felt comfortable. It wasn't this scary place anymore. It was just a place where all my friends were. It was like a forever summer camp. it was a summer camp that doesn't end. So I'm in a summer camp that doesn't end. And when you're at summer camp, you're just having fun. Every day is fun. And that's what prison was like in the beginning for me. I'm with all my friends and every day is fun. And you just keep playing basketball, lifting weights, you get in a couple fights, playing basketball, lifting weights, you get in a couple fights. It was like you can be with your best friends all day, every day. And I was like, and I'm still 18, so I'm a kid in my mind. So this is cool. I don't have aspirations of going to college or being, I'm not, where should I be? In my mind, I should be dead. So this is a step up. This is better than being dead. So I'm on the path, and for 6 years, I stay in this mindset of I'm going to hang with my friends and have fun. And I'm going to do this culture thing that's been given to me, of prison culture. I'm going to be the tough guy, the bad guy, the gang member. And I was in that box. Then my mom came to see me one day. I was in solitary confinement. And she said, boy, how did you get in jail, in jail? I said, Mom, I'm working hard. I said, this is not easy stuff. I mean, there are people who are have brand names at the bar. Everybody knows them. Like, hey, it's like Cheers. Everybody knows your name. That sounds funny in a TV episode. That's alcoholism. You go to a bar and they're like, hey, Ron's back. That's not good. They made it seem good in Cheers. But the truth is, you don't have a life. If you have a stool that belongs to you in the bar, that's really a bad thing. They ran like 20 episodes of the thing, 20 seasons, but having your own bar stool set aside is not a good thing. So, but they make you believe that it was a cool thing. I made myself believe that being in prison was a cool thing. Then I finally woke up and said, whoa, this ain't cool. And I had to ask myself, am I happy with my life? And the answer was no. And I said, well, how do I get to where we want to be? I had to come up with a goal. I said, well, I don't want to be here. And I started having this little internal fight with myself. It came down to, well, Dre, you have to tell the truth about who you are. Because if you don't tell the truth about who you are, wherever you go, that liar is going with you. So I said, okay, I'm Black, I'm a criminal, I'm angry, I'm violent, I'm agitated easily, I don't have patience, I'm undereducated, I'm poor, and I'm a gang member. I just listed my things. Then I wrote down the thing I wanted to be. My first thing was I wanted to be free. Then I said, okay, what does free look like? Free is outside the wall. Is that enough for me? Do I want to sit in their parking lot all day? I'm like, no, I don't want to sit in the parking lot of the prison, but that's free. So I said, I don't want to be free. I want to be successful. So that sounded better. So I went a little bit deeper. I said, okay, what does successful look like? I'm living good, I'm being good, I'm doing. I said, well, how do I become successful? I said, those people come from college. So I said, I'll go to college and I'll reach my success. I said, okay, now I have to pick a college. So I picked Harvard University. So I said, I'll go home, I'll go to Harvard, I'll be successful, done. And that's what I did, and that's what I said, and that's what it was. Then I went out and I told all my friends, hey, I'm going home, going to Harvard. I'm going to be successful. Everybody thought I was crazy. Nobody got it. See, I wasn't comfortable living in my new reality. And maybe it was comfortable in knowing me in my old reality. So people try to keep me in who I was. Dre, you're the great gang member. Dre, you're literally like us. Dre, you do what we do. Why are you trying to change the dynamic? So I had to understand of embracing my little I statement and embracing my purpose and understanding I'm gonna have to let go of some people, not unknow them, but let them go. So I can go live my dream. And I started finding mentors and champions who could support. My first champion was a GED teacher. My second champion was an anger management counselor. My third champion was a chaplain. And these are the same people inside the prison walls. And there were some old timers who were good people who were in positive spaces. So instead of going to the yard and hanging out with my friends, I go walk the yard with the old timers. And they reinforced my dream. My counselors, my champions, my chaplains, they reinforced it. And I just worked every day. And it took me 8 years of working on this I statement and purpose and creating my little plan until I got out of prison. And I got out after 14 years because I taught myself the law, taught myself to read, I taught everything. I made that list. And my prison sentence was one of the things that was stopping me from achieving my goal. So what did I do? I taught myself the law. Not having a high school diploma was stopping me from achieving my goal. So I got a GED. Having anger problems was stopping me from achieving my goal. So I went to anger management. And it wasn't a 2-week turnaround. For me, it was 8 years. I worked hard for 8 years. I got them core things done. I got released, and I was on my path. And I started helping people along the way. Because even though I started out with, I want to go to Harvard, then somebody said, well, why do you want to go to Harvard and be successful? And I couldn't answer that. So I said, well, and I had to think deeply on that. And I was like, okay, I want to help people. And I want to have impact in the world. And that was it. I want to have a voice and impact the world. And that was it. It was that basic. When I came home, I started doing and living in that space. And in the first 4 years, became one of the top outreach workers in the city. I'm speaking and lecturing at Harvard and MIT and all these other schools. And I'm on my course. And I just kept going and kept going. And London Business School, White House, MIT, Congress, 30 different countries, top rated speaker in the world. I've done a lot of stuff. But when I was in that cell in 1991, I said Harvard. I didn't say I wanted to be the #1 YPO speaker. I didn't say I wanted to work in London, in France, in Saudi Arabia. I took those things. I didn't want a big house. I didn't want a nice car. You know what I'm saying? Wife and kid wasn't even on the list. I said Harvard. I appreciated all the other things. And in 2016, I got a fellowship to Harvard Law School. And when they gave me my email, anorman@law.harvard.edu, I said, I made it. From 1991 to 2016, skip 10 years. 91 to 216, in 216 January, they gave me my email. And I sat down and I was like, whoa, I made it. Nobody said I could. Nobody thought I could. I had a big, bold, audacious goal. And even though I had many achievements, Dre, you're lecturing at Harvard, Dre, you're working at London Business School, Dre, you're appointed to the White House. You work with the President of the United States. Dre, you're the #1 rated speaker. All those things were great. But what happens is a lot of kids, I did it to my son. When my son was 2, I told him he's going to go to business school, he's going to become successful, and he can pay whatever he wants to do. That was my thinking. When my son turned 10, I said, hey, how do you feel about business? He says, I don't like it. I was going to force my son to go to college and get a business degree, and he'd been running some company and been miserable in a big house because he was going to live out what I thought he should do, not what he wanted to do. So at 10 years old, I said, son, what makes you happy? What excites you? And I started working that into the plan for his life because my plan for his life had nothing to do with him. And there's so many people who are doctors, lawyers, dentists, and it's not because they wanted to, their parents made them. So yes, they're making money, they can pay their rent, they can pay for their family, they can take vacations, and in their mind, their life sucks. They wanted to be an artist, they wanted to be a trumpet player, they wanted to be a dancer, they wanted to be something else. So they're living the lives of other people. And that's where we get the addiction. That's where we get the escapism. Well, since I can't be what I want to be, I'm just going to go get high. I'm going to go drink. I'm going to not care about my life because it's not my life. This is my parents' life. And I was living up what my neighborhood told me I was, what the media told me I was, what other people told me I was. Nobody ever asked me what I wanted to be.
Wow.
So I did what everybody else said. And oftentimes that ends in negativity and ends in addiction and ends in a bad home. So bad relationship, bad job isn't you're not making money, it's you don't love your job. Bad relationship is not you don't love your wife, you aren't happy with her. You can love somebody and not be happy with them. I've learned that.
True that.
So for me, it was just, I'm living my dream. And when I hit Harvard, that was the hardest thing. You know why? I said, whoa, I made it. But I was like, how old was I then? 2016? I wasn't that old. I was like 46. I was like, okay, I'm not dead. But I made it. Now what? So I had to come up with a new goal. I said, I need a new goal. Because it took me a long time to get this one. I never thought I was going to get there, but I kept going till I got it. So I got a new goal now. And it's even bigger than the last one. And I get up every morning. I hit milestones. I get small wins. I achieve stuff. But I never give up on my internal goal. I'll do some great things along the way that'll make other people happy. That'll add and contribute to the world. But that's not going to stop me from chasing my I statement. And I'm clear on my I statement. So
and what's your next goal? What's the next goal?
Oh, you want to know what the next goal is?
Oh, come on, you can't set me up like that and leave me hanging.
Well, before I told my friends, and they laughed at me, but you're a new type of friend.
Right.
This is a trust thing.
Okay.
So I want the president of the United States of America to appoint me the prison czar. We've had the drug czar. We've had the other kind of czars. I want to be in charge of the American prison system to fix it. That's my next goal.
I love it.
So if anybody knows the president, or there's three levels. There's the president who can appoint me over the federal government's prison systems. And there's a governor of any state. There's 50 states, there's 50 governors, and there's 50 state prison systems. So if a governor has the right to say, Andre, you can be the czar for New York. You can be the czar for Kentucky. You can be the czar for Kansas. It wouldn't be the entire country, but I at least get a blueprint to get going. So any governor can appoint me czar for their state. Then lastly, a sheriff. There are county jails in America that are governed by sheriffs. Sheriff is the only elected elected official in policing in the country. Goes back to the Wild Wild West. Sheriffs are elected, and they control, most of them, their county jail. So they have the right to say, Andre, come do your thing. President, governor, sheriff. If you know any of the three, I want the introduction so I can come in and fix their prison system.
Amazing. I love it. And I love that you're declaring it publicly, because it now you'll just have, energetically, you've got this groundswell of support, and that then resources, right? Like we were in a men's meeting where you shared that, and someone was like, I know the governor of this state, and I know the attorney general in this state. And it was like, bing, 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 right away. So
I believe that they do. People get busy.
Yes, they do.
So somebody, when the time comes, the time will come.
Yep.
And I'm ready.
Yeah. Andre, I'm so inspired by that vision, and I thank you for sharing it in here with us, because I know that everybody in here has nothing but love for you, and is not going to be laughing at you like the first round, like you said, of Friends, because Lord knows the prison system needs to change. So where can people find you online?
It's easy. AndreNorman.com.
Okay. All right.
My website is my name, AndreNorman.com. If you're on Instagram or YouTube or Twitter, it's all Andre Norman.
Awesome. All right, Andre, listen, thank you so much for sharing your story. It is so inspiring. And I took some really good notes here for myself, and I really appreciated it. And I love the line, you got to tell the truth about who you are. And then when you wrote about, it was kind of like you created a dream team. I wrote it, who's in your dream team? Those mentors that will whisper in your ear that you can do it. And like, who's in your dream team, and then enrolling them in what successful looks like, because successful is undefined, and you did a great job of defining it for all of us, because now we have this very specific goal that we're holding for you, which is like, we could, that's how that's going to happen. So thank you, sir. Great to hang with you. Thank you for being on the Stress Elimination Summit, my friend.
Good luck, and God bless everybody.
Thanks so much for checking out this episode of Reduce Your Stress with Tim Ringgold. I've got a couple of resources for you, which you can find in the show notes, or you can listen to right here. So check it out. If you enjoy the sound of my voice and you enjoy the sound of my guitar, imagine them put together. Go to sonicrecovery.com and take your very own relaxation vacation, where I take you out of the stress of the present moment and back in time, to a time when you felt happy, healthy, safe, and sober, and then walk you through that memory so you can bring back those feelings into the challenges you're facing today. So go check that out. It's at sonicrecovery.com. If you're a healthcare worker in recovery, check out the Music in Recovery Self-Care Guide for healthcare professionals that I created just for you. That's at hcp.sonicrecovery.com. And if you're a healthcare worker and you'd like more information about how to help your patients use music, you can check out the Music Medicine Guide that I created just for you at musicmedicineguide.com. Lastly, if you enjoyed the pod and you haven't done it yet, would you just take a minute to rate and review it? It really only takes about 60 seconds, believe it or not, and it would go a long way to help us make more people know just how good this pod is, particularly for healthcare workers and their stress. Thanks again. See you next time.